Vincent van Gogh wrote in one of his letters, "It is not the language of painters, but the language of nature which one should listen to, the feeling of the things themselves, for reality is more important than the feeling for pictures." Listen. Listen. A sower went out to sow the seed, the word, a word, many words, an entire story, a person. The seed is spread far and wide, extravagantly, excessively, with no rhyme or reason. Everywhere the seed spreads, to those who hear and to those who hear and follow for a moment, to those who hear and are changed forever and begin to sow their seeds to all, and those who don't listen. The sower is extravagant in sowing, never knowing where or for how long the seed will take root. Let anyone who has ears to hear listen.
Listen. Listen. Listen. The sower went out to sow the seed. The seed fell on the path, and the birds came and ate it up. There are people who have every opportunity to hear the word, the religious folk who have been to dinner with Jesus. They go to church. They learn the law. They speak with all the preachers and teachers. Outwardly, they did the right thing, whether by habit or out of obligation. And yet, listen, the seed was cast before them. They listened but didn't hear. They listened but didn't understand. They questioned but didn't learn. They argued to win an argument. They questioned for the joy of the challenge. They were so busy forming arguments that they missed what was said. The seed was sown, but it doesn't take root. Their faith doesn't find a place to grow. So listen. A sower went out. The sower is extravagant in sowing, never knowing where and for how long the seed will take root. Let anyone who has ears hear. Listen.
Listen. A sower went out to sow some seed. The seed fell on the rocky ground where it did not have much soil, and it sprang up quickly since it had no depth of soil. There are people who receive the word with joy, but they have no root. So they endure for a moment. When troubles come, they fall away. When persecution comes, they run away. Peter, James, John, and Andrew, you are so excited by the word, you jump up and follow so quickly without thought, and yet the waters are troubled. People challenge your truth. You begin to wonder about the teaching. You begin to lose faith. When troubles come, when your faith is tested, why did you have to die? Why does God allow evil? Why wasn't my sincere prayer answered? You run away. You slowly stop going to church. You don't feel nourished by the pastor. You can't stand the new music. When asked about faith, you obfuscate. You deny what was once so important. You lose your courage. Listen. A sower went out to sow some seed. The sower is extravagant in sowing, never knowing where and for how long the seed will take root. Let anyone who has ears to hear, listen.
Listen. The sower went out to sow. The seed fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, and it yielded no grain. There are people who hear the word, but the cares of the world, the delight in riches, the call of fame, the desire for other things, enter and choke out the kingdom. There is a moment when a rich man comes to Jesus and asks how to achieve eternal life. They talk about loving God and loving neighbor, and then Jesus looks at him with sadness, has compassion for him, but knows that the words are not enough. The study is not enough. Jesus says, you have to give up everything you own. You need to give all you have to the poor and come and follow me. The man couldn't do it. He had a lot, and he enjoyed a lot. He liked being able to travel where he wanted. He liked the clothes he had. They were well made, soft, beautiful. His houses, the one on the lake, the one in the capital, the one by the sea. He walked away. Listen, a sower went out to sow. The sower is extravagant in sowing, never knowing where and for how long the seed will take root. Let anyone who has ears to hear, listen.
Listen. A sower went out to sow extravagantly, wastefully, abundantly. The seed falls everywhere, springing up for a moment and for a lifetime, springing up in the good and the bad. We encounter your seed in the good soil. Every time someone is healed, every time someone is forgiven, every time mercy is experienced, every time compassion is shown, every time evil is challenged and cast out. These ordinary people who've been transformed, whose soil was receptive to the seed sprouted and grew, and as they go out and share their story, speak of your mercy and compassion, hope. They spread the word, they sow the seed, they speak everywhere of what God has done. Listen, a sower went out to sow the seed, and it fell into the good soil and brought forth grain, growing up and increasing and yielding 30 and 60 and 100-fold. I think there are times in life when we each are of the soil. There are times when God is so close and so powerfully present, we burst with love. There are times when we have stepped away from God in our faith, when we have stopped practicing and just let it slide away. There are times when everything about our faith seems wrong and we just turn away. What type of soil are you right now? This Lent, we're going to cultivate our soil and learn how to sow some seeds. Listen. A sower went out to sow, throwing the seeds anywhere and everywhere. The sower is extravagant in sowing, never knowing where or for how long the seed will take root. Let anyone who has ears to hear, listen.